Part 2, the data, the marketing, the breakthrough. After I uploaded my first two songs, Whiskey Makes You Look Better and Body Over Brains, I started trying to scale them. Social media was the first battlefield. Some people loved it, others were negative. A lot saw the word AI and bounced immediately, but I didn't care because once I researched how social media algorithms work, I learned something important. Algorithms don't care if a comment is positive or negative, they care that it's engagement. So I started thinking strategically. How do I get people to react? How do I make them stop scrolling? I began with the titles that were searchable, titles that would auto populate first, titles that made people curious enough to tap. I had access to Spotify for artists and it showed everything: listeners, monthly listeners, streams, saves, playlist ads, followers, demographics, locations, all of it. I would study every metric until I understood exactly what the data meant. My next releases followed the same formula: my lyrics, my beats, AI vocals, Bad Decisions, Good Times, and Say You Still Do. Bad Decisions, Good Times started moving fast. High streams, high listeners, traveling organically. Then later on, a song I released called Untangled got playlisted through TuneBump, which is a website where you can submit your music and they add it to playlists or they don't. You either get accepted or rejected. On my very first submission, I got accepted. That was another sign that I was like moving somewhere like forward. I got more comfortable, I got silly, I got deep, I got weird. Some things streamed, some didn't. I was still telling my feelings through music, but now I was chasing virality. And after learning how algorithms actually work, I realized that you can't force a viral moment. You have to find a sound and stick to it. So I made a decision. It was time to use my own vocals. I'm half deaf, completely deaf in my right ear, spinal meningitis when I was 18 months old. Can't even attach a hearing aid to anything because there's no eardrum. So I'm completely deaf. So as a half deaf person wanting to be on a stage performing, this became rather sound like it's impossible, but I decided I would build cues into the music. So sounds, ad libs, lyrics, anything that would help me count in my head during a live show. Because when it's loud and you can only hear out of one ear, performing feels impossible, but I was determined. March 2026, I released my first album, Artificial Idiot, 9 tracks, my voice, different deliveries, different blended beats. It was my way of releasing multiple variations at once and seeing what people connected with. The top 3 songs after a month were Control, which is about leaving a toxic ex who keeps playing with your feelings, Dance With Me, a fun upbeat romance track using dance as a metaphor for trust, and Rodeo, a high BPM country blend using auto-tune in my southern drawl. The album streamed over 150 times in the first 24 hours. Once people accepted my vocals, I had an idea. I would do what's called bluff cuts. I would redo the AI vocal songs with my real voice. The first bluff cut, Bad Decisions, Good Times, the bluff cut, was a success. And from a business standpoint, I had just doubled my catalog while owning my masters. Now I had confidence in my vocals, my production style, and my writing. But I still wasn't moving the way I wanted. I was posting, I was emailing creators, I was sending DMs, nothing. I refused to give up, so I went back to research, and that's when I realized the next step, I had to dive into my personal life, my trauma, my hurt, my diary, and tell the truth. May 2026, I released I Survived You, my first time sharing my journal with the world. It was a success, and to this day, it still finds its way into my top songs every other week. That was the moment my story started speaking itself.